John, is it a good move by Lionsgate to make a new Power Rangers movie?
Good God, no. No. I mean, look, I've gotten a lot of questions on AMC Movie Talk before about, do you think they'll do a Power Rangers movie? And this is why you never say never. And I've always said, well, don't say never, but it's unlikely. Why? Because, look, the first Power Rangers movie that came out in 1995, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, worldwide, like, this is not when it became a novelty thing. This is in the height of its popularity.
Yeah.
Worldwide, international total, $66 million at the box office. Then in 1997, they thought, let's give it another shot. And they put out a wide release, over 2,000 theaters, wide release called Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, as a follow-up. Anybody want to take a guess what the world, I think you already know. Want to take a guess, Schnepp, what the worldwide total was on the second Power Rangers movie?
$100 million.
$9 million. Oh. It went from $66 million, which was terrible to start with, to $9 million in the second one. Batman vs. Superman could not take a hit. They need this to be huge. They need it to be big because they're trying to reestablish this whole cinematic universe. Is it cowardly? I'm having a lot of people tweeting me and asking me, was it cowardly of DC to move off the date? No, it wasn't. I don't care. I really don't. I mean, we're gonna see the Batman costume for the first time when it comes on screen, or we'll see it in the trailer, whatever. And we're gonna have our impression of it, whether good Batman suit, bad Batman suit. But ultimately, how good or bad this movie is gonna be will have nothing to do with what we think about the Batman suit. We're either gonna like it or we're not gonna like it, but ultimately, it's not important. Because DC announcing dates doesn't mean much to me. Just last year, hey everybody, we're bringing you Batman vs. Superman in the summer of 2015. Yay! And then a couple of months after that did we say summer of 2015? We meant May 6th, 2016. Yay! And now yesterday, did we say May 6th? We really meant March 2016. Yay! DC, Marvel, Warner Brothers, DC and Warner Brothers giving us dates means nothing.
John, what do you think about the upcoming Jem and the Holograms movie?
This is stupid.
John, will any of these actresses be Wonder Woman, and could we see Wonder Woman and Flash in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman?
Nope. Wonder Woman is none other than Fast and the Furious's Gal Gadot. None of these would fit to be Wonder Woman, so it must be for another role that they're all going in for. Turns out, it was Wonder Woman they were going in for, and they've selected her. Now, before I give my opinion about this, let me preface what I'm going to say with this. I'm going to give this a shot. When the movie opens, I'm going to go in with, check my prejudices at the door, check my preconceived notions at the door, go in, experience the movie, and then I'll judge it on its own merits. But since we're talking now, and we just heard about it, I got to have my first impressions. All of these girls, I think, weigh about 65 pounds. I'm not really sure about that. I haven't weighed them myself. I don't think she has that level of acting ability to carry an entire major league franchise on her shoulders. This is terrible. This is a terrible casting. Just awful. Because, and for several reasons. Number one, let's get one of the simpler things out of the way. I don't want a 95-pound Wonder Woman. Gal is a beautiful woman, absolutely. That's great. She's got the exotic look that you'd want for a woman, Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. But I don't care what incarnation of Wonder Woman you look at, whether it's the comic books, the animated movies, or whatever. Wonder Woman ain't 95 pounds. There are some people who say, out of respect for Paul Walker, you don't replace him. That's bullcrap. That is absolute stupidity and nonsense. Because if you're a guy like Paul Walker who poured your heart, passion, mind, soul, strength, everything into that character and then that role, you honor him by making it the best Fast and Furious ever. Fast and the Furious is about Dom and Brian. That's what this franchise is about. It's about Dom and Brian. And if they've been planning to take this to Fast and the Furious 9 and 10 with Dom and Brian, then to honor Paul Walker, you take it to 9 or 10 with Dom and Brian. Honor Paul Walker by seeing Dom and Brian's story through to where they wanted to go, build on the shoulders of what he spent so much of his life establishing, get a new actor in there. Audiences are mentally strong enough to handle it. Don't worry. This is stupid. You're telling me. I remember a little while ago, remember Jon M was on board? I know I'm hurting Crystal Lee right now. Do you remember Jon M was supposed to be directing the new He-Man? He was all on board to direct the next Masters of the Universe, all that kind of stuff, and stepped away all because the next G.I. Joe film was going to take up my time. Oh, but wait, I've got time to do Jem and the Holograms? Are you kidding me? Let this sink in, film fans. Let this sink in for a second. We're going to get a Jem and the Holograms live-action feature film before we get a Wonder Woman live-action feature film. Let that sink in for a minute. They announced they changed the name to some generic piece of crap Monday afternoon soap opera daytime sounding title, Edge of Tomorrow. I think if I'm the head of a studio, first of all, that studio would probably be bankrupt in 6 months. But before I drove that studio into the ground, I would roll the dice on Zelda. I totally would. Like, doesn't that sound like a daytime soap opera title? Edge of Tomorrow. A lot of people say, hey, with the huge popularity now of Arrow on TV, which is one of the few TV shows I watch. If you don't watch Arrow, you should. It's a really good show. But people say, with the huge popularity of Arrow, shouldn't they now look at making a Green Arrow movie? Well, what is your definition of hugely popular? So no, I don't believe that Gadot will back out because, number one, Warner Brothers prepared her for the negative backlash. Number two, her own fans aren't going to be against her taking the role like Charlize Hunnam's fans were against him taking the role. Now, I'm going to give you my opinion on this, and it's going to be unpopular, but I'm not afraid to say what's unpopular. It's a stupid title. It's a bad title. Especially when the title was All You Need Is Kill. Super memorable, super cool, sticks in the consciousness, is great. And that is the show is very, very, very slow. I'm lucky if I get 5 minutes of Tyrion Lannister. George R.R. Martin says he would like it to end in a movie. Well, you do know that that's irrelevant. Whatever George R.R. Martin wants or thinks is completely irrelevant. You know, I am flabbergasted that there is not a Zelda movie yet. Let's confuse the whole thing and change the title. I am baffled. Absolutely baffled.
Sam Crook writes, what happened to the Arrested Development movie?
There was never going to be an Arrested Development movie. I've been arguing till I was blue in the face with people forever. Everybody saying, oh, there's going to be an Arrested Development movie. I actually made this video on YouTube years ago saying, folks, get a grip. There's never going to be an Arrested Development movie. And there are still people today who write hate messages on there. You don't know. They might do it. They're not doing it. That show went off air for a reason because nobody watched it. And then there's this big myth around that. Oh no, John, you don't understand. When the show went off the air, it got a huge audience. That's so mythological. It's just not the truth. You announce you're making a Legends of Zelda movie, and instantly you're going to have a lot of people interested. It's just not. Because what happened? You know, they brought it back. Nobody else wanted to pick it up. No other network would pick it up, and they tried other networks, and all they could get was Netflix. And guess what? It didn't work all that well on Netflix either. I'm going to tell you right now, this Guardians of the Galaxy film is going to get a huge critic rating. It's going to get a huge, I'm guessing mid to high 80s, maybe even the low 90s. To me, it looked like a soap opera. It looked like video on television of a really HD clear local soap opera being shot. I mean, it didn't feel like a movie to me. And when I make that argument to some people, they'll come back to me, and understandably so, they'll come back to me and say, yeah, but John, you got to take in consideration, you only feel that way because you're used to seeing 24 frames per second. That's what you're used to. But this is like a lot of other properties. I feel like every year that goes by, the chances of a Zelda movie are diminishing more and more and more. I think they should make one. This is not the end. What drives me crazy, though, is when I see some people who hate the movie say, well, if you like Transformers, then clearly you have no intellect and you have no appreciation for what a good movie is and blah, 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 blah. That's terrible. But equally as terrible is the other side of people saying, well, if you didn't like Transformers, you just don't appreciate fun movies. You don't know how to appreciate just a good fun movie. No, it's just that maybe your definition of fun and mine is a little bit different. People have been saying that the era of comic book movies is going to be drawing to a close any time now. And that people are going to get tired of comic book. They've been saying that people are going to get tired of comic book movies for like 8 years now. And what do we see? Do we see them losing any steam? Mine is the right point of view. All you need is mine and everything's fine, right? Well, maybe not. As much as I would like to see them drop Gal Gadot, as much as I would like to see Gal Gadot have the opportunity to play in about 5, 6, 7 more movies with smaller roles, getting bigger, have time to be trained as an actress, because she's not a very good actress right now. Were they so premature in Getting Off that they got in front of the audience at Comic-Con and dropped this huge bomb on us, Batman vs. Superman 2015, when really they were not in a position to do so? But to me, 24 frames per second is what a movie is. That look that 24 frames per second gives us, for me personally, and not everybody feels this way, and that's cool, but the look that 48 frames per second gives to me feels cheap, even though it's technologically far more advanced. Then once again, it shows that Warner Brothers has no foresight. Why didn't you know that 6 months ago? When you're sitting there making your plans and making all your big grandstanding Comic-Con announcements about your big movie, why hadn't you thought of that 6 months ago? But then when you come to Transformers 4 and you just put verbal or visual diarrhea up on the screen and say, now people will like it. There's a lot of people who won't. Now it makes me think that if you hadn't had this in your plan 6 months ago, now you're jumping the gun. Now you're last second, hey, oh, wait a minute. I know we're getting ready to shoot Man of Steel 2, but wait a minute. What if we shoot Justice League back to back? Yeah, stop everything. Let's do that now. That shows me lack of foresight. Complaining can be fun. Wait a minute. Now let's do a Justice League. Yeah, now let's do it. Change everything. Put the brakes on. I know we told the fans the movie's coming in 2015, but put the brakes on. Now we'll do Justice League. You're not giving it thought. Some of the most popular stuff I've done has been my angry rants on something. Somebody even took a 6-month period of me ranting about stuff and put it into one YouTube video. And you can find it on YouTube. I can't remember who put it together, but if you can look it up. It's called Jon Campea Rants or something like that. And it's embarrassing for me when I look at it because I look pretty damn silly, but whatever, it's fun, right? Marvel's already planning their 2018 films. Their 2018 films are already in the planning stages for. We don't know what's going on at Warner Brothers. You think I'm telling some kind of joke. The sad thing is, I'm not telling some kind of joke. And how they continue to botch and mishandle Edge of Tomorrow is shocking to me. All I can figure is that some president, some division president, or some senior vice president over there has some really underachieving moron nephew that they had to give a job to. Okay, Uncle Rick. Edge of Tomorrow. So why is Megatron now suddenly a Scooby-Doo villain going, and this is what he said, saying, no, the Autobots are ruining everything. Explain to me why that's happening. It is probably the worst marketing campaign, the most botched marketing campaign for a film I have ever seen. And so what do you think about them changing the title of the film to Live, Die, Repeat? And I was like, oh, silly viewer. Silly viewer. They didn't change the name of the movie. That's just the box art. Let me bring it up again. That's just the box art. No, so naive, thinking they changed the name of the movie. Well, turns out they did change the name of the movie. Action without narrative or purpose is just visual diarrhea. Just when you finally got people to warm, after people finally got over that horrible marketing campaign, Transformers 4 to me was just a lot of purposeless action. It's like, wait a minute, remind me again, why are they having this fight now? I'm just flabbergasted by it. And am I ascribing too much importance to this title change? Maybe. Where did the samurai robot come from? Now it's Live, Die, Repeat, Edge of Tomorrow. Explain to me why the Dinobots are joining in this fight. They so misrepresented that movie and made that movie look like a big piece of existential voyage into the mind. This is not the end. tell me why now Optimus Prime, whenever he gets startled, he starts yelling, "I'll kill you, I'll kill you, I'll kill you." It's this introspective, philosophical, journey into the soul of the eye. That's what these trailers look like, and the movie looks stupid. Now, Joe is Captain America. No, he's Falcon. I don't understand what all you mean is kill means. Let's change it to Edge of Tomorrow. Wait. 6 months later, second thought. Let's change it to Live, Die, Repeat. How about that, Uncle Rick? Steve Rogers is Captain America. You want to mess with the history of Steve Rogers, change up his ethnicity, stuff like that? I'm cool with that. That's great. But don't go and get, Winter Soldier and say that's Captain America. I bleed Star Wars, all right? As a fan of Star Wars on that level, I don't want Vader there if they have to really make a really forced plot device to make it happen. And I actually thought, I can't be with a girl that does not know and adore and love Star Wars. It can't work. Sorry, baby. It ain't going to work. But she instantly followed that up with, I've always wanted to watch them, though. And I'm like, okay, we may have just saved this. We might have just saved this. And I remember watching the original trilogy with her, and kind of, as she's watching the movie, I'm like watching her face. Making sure, trying to read if she's enjoying, because if she doesn't like the Star Wars, where can we go? There's nothing left for us to talk about, honey. He's Falcon. Let him be Falcon. I'm not ready to stand up and say, yes, Chris Pratt should be Indiana Jones. Yeah, just because he looked good in a picture, that doesn't really mean anything. Don't go get, Falcon and just say, oh, now he's Captain America. To me, it's stupid. This result kind of seals the fate of the Expendables franchise. I think the Expendables franchise is done. And just to me, it goes beyond tearing up and ripping up the core essential elements of who Captain America is. Steve Rogers, all the things that make Captain America who he is, that's all now gone. Sam Wilson is not Captain America. He's Sam Wilson. And maybe he'll start calling himself Captain America. Maybe he'll put on a costume that looks like the Captain America costume, but he ain't Captain America. No studio is going to put $20 million into an Arrested Development movie. It's not happening. Oh, but John, there was this one festival where the cast and the crew said, we're working on a movie. Wonderful. Do you know how many movies are being worked on? 1,000 to 1 that never get made. You're not going to see an Arrested Development movie. Look, I'm a fan of the show, just like everybody else. I loved the original airings anyway. I did not like the season they did on Netflix at all, to be honest with you. But I loved all the old shows. They were great. But that doesn't change the reality that since nobody watched it, they're not going to make a movie out of this. So what happened to it? It never was. That's just it. Okay, anyway, sorry.
I think you hit a red button there, questionnaire. I want John to Campea Rant. Talk about Arrested Development movie. It's awesome.
All right, what's next? Damn it, someone's going to make a video meme out of me doing that damn music stuff. It's going to be horrible now. Anyway.